September 18 is coming. We have a new of stuff coming on that day. And in this video, I'm going to talk about two specific things about that. Hyperboost and Tier 3 preparation. First, Hyperboost. The Hyperboost is not a server where you create a character, you get everything and then transfer. The Hyperboost is part of the core of the game now. It doesn't matter if you play in the Hyperboost server or in the live server. Everything will be part of the codex. You will have extra quests, and by the end of those quests, you will end up with a set of tier 2 items plus 12 and full trade. Probably full useless trades, but it doesn't matter because the whole purpose is that it's 12 and the blessings of having a full trade to transfer to a tier 3 item. So it doesn't matter whether you play, if it's an Hyperboost server or the live server. In my opinion, the Hyperboost server only makes sense in two scenarios. First, if you are always crying that someone is better than you because they have been playing longer than you and have more stuff, whatever. If you are that kind of sweetie player, by playing in the Hyperboost server, everyone is starting at the same level. So you no longer have that excuse. Spoiler, you will probably lose if you all have that kind of attitude, but well, go ahead and try it. The second reason is if you want to relive a fresh start experience, like getting into Castletown again with a lot of people over here, just hanging out, like at the beginning of the game. That's it. Those are the only two reasons for me to play in the Hyperboost server. Everything else is better to play in existing live server. Especially, the main reason more people are creating a character in Hyperboost is to have another character to farm Lassen. And if your goal is that, it's better if you create the character in the live server. Why? Because the Hyperboost server will have the milestones. You need to unlock the stuff before having access to other content. And this means that if you create your character in the current servers, you are already ahead in time. You have access to the array earlier than people creating the characters in the Hyperboost server. In my opinion, I'm waiting for more information. I think we will have a new video today or maybe next Tuesday about this, but I want to have more information about what's going to happen with the heroic items. Because yes, we know that we will end up with a full set of items, of tier 2 items. Okay, but what will happen with the heroics? Because if they don't give anything related to heroics, existing players will have a huge advantage still. So I think they will give something. Maybe will give more prism, will give more shards or something. The problem is that if the Hyperboost is just part of the game, nothing is preventing me to having access to those extra prism and maximize this weapon, maximize the cape, whatever, and hence creating more advantage for me. So I think they may add some kind of constraint, like you cannot claim this present and the shard unless you don't have an heroic item or whatever, some restrictions. And if they do that, I may create a new character, because I want probably to play Bow Dagger in tier 3 or maybe a Scout, I don't know. I'm waiting for the orb to have more information about the skills, but Infiltrator was my first class in this game that I dropped after a few weeks because everyone was playing Infiltrator and Liberator because Flash Wave was too up, and I reroll into Dark Blighter and later on into Fury. So maybe I return to my origins, maybe not. But if I do, and having access and creating a new character will have benefit in terms of access to heroic materials or heroic items, it will make sense for me to create a new character. I will not create a character for farming purpose. In fact, I used to have two characters and I decided to delete one a long time ago. For me, this is not a game where you benefit from having many many characters because that leads to burnout, and that's why Tico said that they are not giving us actually a third slot because that leads to burn out. So I will prefer to only keep one character, but if having another character will benefit from access to things that I cannot get with my existing character, I may consider that. So this is all about Hyperboost. Let's talk about tier 3 preparation. The same happened with the tier 2 with Talandre. The weeks before that, a lot of videos popping up on YouTube about blessing stackings and blah blah blah. My opinion, this is all irrelevant. If you are an everyday player like I am, just play the game. Don't care about blessing stacking. Don't stress too much about that. Just play the game. Just store items with the traits you need, and that's it. When you get your tier 3 items, you just fit the item to that, and that's it. Don't try to be too stressful now about blessing stacking everything to have 20k blessings or whatever. It's not worth it. I spent like a month playing with Shadow Harvester and Phantom sets at the beginning of Talandre, and it doesn't make any difference. I was just as good as when I got my first tier 2 items, which was the Osuari helm and pants, if I recall correctly. So this is just my opinion as an everyday player. I don't care about maximizing everything week 1. I prefer to have kind of a progression in my character, not just have everything the first week and then complain that I don't have anything to do. In fact, we are reaching the end of tier 2 and still I don't have things max. For example, look at the earrings. It's missing some traits, the other earring is also missing traits. I don't care. I mean, you don't need to maximize everything. I could, of course, I have lesson right now to maximize this, but I don't care. It's not needed. You don't need to min-max everything. You just need to have fun. That's the whole purpose of the game. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one.